I was young, if my mom knew that my neighbors were destitute,
right,
and that the children would eat mayonnaise sandwiches, my mother would tell me when she called me in from play to come and eat, bring Mr. Honey's kids, and we all ate. My mother didn't believe in us eating and the neighbors being hungry. Where's that these days? I mean, you know. Well, my mother, her name is Pauline Crawford Bell, and my dad was Charles Bell. And I was born into a family of people that made things with their hands. My father did a little light carpentry, and my father was a tailor. So my father knew how to sew. My mother was a seamstress and just an all-around handy person. That's the place I was nurtured in. So fabric was always around. And when your parents are running a business, oftentimes they will, you know, recruit you in on a non-voluntary basis. And you got to do something. Right. So one of the things that, you know, my parents used to get me to do was to hem pants, hem skirts, shorten sleeves on jackets and things like that. And so I learned how to be handy with a needle early on, you know. And then by the time I was 12 years old, I was sewing on a sewing machine, you know, because that was part of the thing. Everybody, you know, had to pitch in. You know, everybody wanted to eat.
And was this a business? Like, did she
kind of informal.
Okay.
You know, just, it was known in the community that if you needed some tailoring work, your pants hemmed, your dress hemmed, you could come and my mama would do it. So it was kind of like her, what they would call today her side hustle. Let me tell you something. When I was in high school, I was a bad kid.
No, you weren't.
Man, I made A's and B's. And I made D's and F's in conduct. I was bad. However, a teacher, and this is why I respect teachers, a teacher recognized something in me, and she taught me how to crochet. And it changed my whole life. And she made an agreement with me. She said, well, if you're not talking in class and trying to be a distraction, you could quilt under your desk. You know, they had those desks with the little thing underneath it that you could put stuff
like
into.
Like the books and things?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I could put my hands under there. Nobody could see me. And I could be crocheting.
Oh, nice.
And then she asked all my teachers to allow me to do that. And within 4 months, everything had turned around for me. But her teaching me that helped me to learn self-regulation, okay, and it gave me something to help me to practice focus, and she turned my life around.
That's beautiful.
You know, with that. When I was young, we didn't have after-school programs either. We didn't have art. We didn't have after-school programs, but the library, it was the West Hunter Street Library up there by Washington High. They would allow us to come to the library after school, and she would read us stories. She would, you know, teach us about the library. We would read books and do little arts and crafts, and she gave us a snack. By that time, our parents would be home from work. I had an opportunity for a small time to go and live in San Antonio, Texas.
And what happened?
So I lived there about 7 years. And you say, what happened?
Yeah.
I went there. Some of my friends were there. You know, I reinvented myself.
Okay.
I got involved with the Episcopal School, and that's where I started as a teaching artist.
Oh, that's where it started?
Yeah, that's where it started in San Antonio. That's where my training and my mentoring and my apprenticing, all of that happened in San Antonio, Texas. So I was able to go there and be able to sell my collectibles on the Riverwalk to
beautiful.
other shops and things like that. Yeah, it was. It really was, because people in Atlanta really didn't know that much about textiles. You know, it was the big four: painting, drawing, sculpture, and photography. That was it. You're not in that club, then go home. You know. But when I went to San Antonio, because of all of the Latin American and Mexican textile influence, it's a part of their everyday life. Mm-hmm. You know. So I was able to go there, you know, and sort of find my niche. Because when I was in San Antonio, that's when I met Faith Ringo. She's been using my fabric in her quilts since she began Story Quilt. Mother passed, she sort of devoted herself more to quilting. And then that's when she met me, you know. And so she, up until today, you know, if you see hand-dyed fabric in her quilts, you know, and you know my style, right, you could easily recognize that, you know, she's using my work.
Nice. Do you have like mentions in any of her works?
In her book, in the book, Dancing at the Louvre, she made a point to mention in that book our association. See, I've had over 30 years of experience doing what I've done.
Right.
And I've worked with major institutions, had lots of wonderful training, worked with many, many people, and had the opportunity to do things that kind of helped move me forward. When I went to San Antonio, I actually had a kid come to me and say, "How do you get to be that color?" Because the only people they had been seeing was either Caucasians or brown people. They're Mexican nanny. But to see an actual African American, that was like, you know, where they come from, you know? So I told that child, you know, God made me like this. He made me brown. But if you look at me in the sun really, really close, actually I'm iridescent. Yeah. So if you were to look at yourself like with the sun on you and just kind of turn your hand like that, you'll see that you're made up of multiple colors. You're iridescent.
Yeah.
And that feeling of iridescence permeates itself in me, and I feel like I'm part of what the stars are made out of. So when I came on the set in San Antonio, you know, because I'm shy, but in opportunities where I'm teaching and marketing myself, I really can.
You sell it well.
Yeah, I really can do that, you know. So for them, it was a unique experience, because most of the time when they're seeing African Americans, because of their own perceptions of African Americans, they see us in like one way, you know. But when they come upon, when the people that I was relating to in San Antonio came upon somebody that didn't necessarily fit that mold, it was a unique experience for them.